In celebration of 100 years of UIL Texas high school football, the UIL, Dave Campbell's Texas football, and HEB teamed up to honor the best, brightest, and most unforgettable teams in the sport's illustrious history. With the help of some of the state's foremost experts and historians, we selected and honored 100 of the finest teams to grace the gridiron that give the game its one-of-a-kind flair. Throughout the course of the season, fans from across the state voted each week to help us select 10 of the greatest teams in UIL history. Today, we are proud to recognize Pflugerville High School and the 1958 Panthers team, who were selected by the fans as one of the top 10 greatest high school football teams in UIL history. Joining us to celebrate, we have the superintendent for Pflugerville ISD, Doug Killian, Deputy Superintendent for Pflugerville ISD, Dr. Troy Gallo, the principal of Pflugerville High School, Amika Hunt, joining us on the phone. We have District Athletic Director for Pflugerville ISD, Todd Raymond, the current head football coach for the Pflugerville Panthers, Charles Taylor. We have former players from the 1958 Pflugerville Panthers team, Charles Mott, Stanley File, and Atlin Pfluger. We have current board member for Pflugerville ISD and former cheerleader for the 1958 Pflugerville Panthers team, Bernadine Mott. And representing the presenting sponsor of our UIL 100 Greatest Teams, we have Tamara Jones, Central Texas Public Affairs Manager for HEB, and the local HEB store manager there in Pflugerville, Ibelia Salazar. Now, Coach Taylor, current coach of the Pflugerville Panthers now, as you kind of look back, tell us a little bit about what made that 1958 Pflugerville Panthers team so special and why you believe they were selected by the fans as one of the greatest high school football teams in UIL history.
Well, I guess you're in luck. So I'm old Taylor boy, so we're right down the road. And, me growing up at the time, most schools only had one high school. And so you could kind of see the traditions from each high school. And we played Pflugerville. It's Pflugerville, Georgetown, Taylor, all those schools like that. And so Pflugerville has always been immersed in a steep tradition. And you could always feel it. I mean, anywhere you go and you have that P on your chest or on your hat, people recognize it. And so I think it's pretty special, especially in the state of Texas where football is king. If you're listed on anything, I mean, that's a great accomplishment. And that 58 team, I believe they started the whole streak, 55 consecutive wins, which I'm going to count. I think we should be higher on that list. But at the time, I guess if you were Class B, they didn't count. You couldn't play in a state championship and didn't count some of those wins. So I'm gonna count all 55. So I think like currently in the state of Texas, they'd still be about number 3 on that list. And anybody knows who's coached anything to win that many games in a row, it's tough. I mean, it's tough. And back then it may have been tougher because you were playing for your town. There was not as many schools, and every week was a fight. And so coming into this situation, I kind of knew about that. And, it hangs on a deal outside of Campbell Field here. So when you drive in, you see it and you know the tradition. And so I think it's pretty special and it's stood the test of time. And some of those players are, still around. And, when you do that, I think that's what you play for.
And Charles, when you look back at that 1958 season and that 1958 team, what's a memory that most stands out to you?
Well, Coach Taylor kind of indicated that Pflugerville was a farming community. We were not too far from Taylor. And when football season came around, it was the fall time. And with the beginning of a new season, the anticipation and expectations of a successful football team was paramount in the minds not only of the students, but the entire community. In fact, in the years prior to 1958, the Austin American Statesman had labeled Pflugerville king of six-man football. To a young kid growing up in Pflugerville, this meant a great deal. And then with increasing enrollment, numerous schools had developed an 8-man football program, which Pflugerville had joined. At the beginning of 1958, Coach Campbell, in his first talk with the team, had said, "Boys, if you win, You have fans that will travel anywhere in the country to watch you play, and win we did. We were encouraged by the tremendous support of the entire community, the school, the businesses, and the old football players who had graduated in years past that we didn't dare disappoint by losing a game. The atmosphere there in Pflugerville in the fall and football season was charged with excitement, the tremendous support, the enthusiasm. Perhaps this enthusiastic support was epitomized and noted by you as a player when you first ran out on the home field and heard the roar of the crowds, lined up 6 deep along both sidelines. Some cars parked in the east end zone with their horns honking, our band playing, the enthusiasm and excitement rising to a high pitch, and then a crescendo finally abating when the referee blew the whistle to start the game. We won all of our games that year. Perhaps one of the outcomes that is most appreciated by me is that by being a participant, a player on this team, you were able to make acquaintance with and be a member of a group of boys, some of whom became lifelong friends with shared wonderful moments. After we had won the last game of the season, Coach Campbell came onto the bus and stated, "Boys, once you got started, nobody could stop you." And so it was just a wonderful experience in this little farming community to participate in the game of football. And we really are behind you, Coach Taylor. We want you to continue.
I appreciate you sharing that, Charles, and it's so awesome to hear you talk about that and to hear how special that season was to you. You know, we were talking about this earlier, you know, kind of how we got here, you know, to even get to our beginning list of 100 of the greatest teams in UIL history is a challenge. And there's so many great teams, and then to be recognized as one of the top 10 greatest teams in UIL history by the fans, and to hear how much that meant to you, Charles, to be a part of it is really special. So I appreciate you sharing that. Atlin, I kind of want to ask you a similar question. You know, as you look back on that 1958 team, you know, what's a memory that stands out to you?
Well, we were extremely fortunate to have 2 great coaches to mold a bunch of country boys into a winning team. We had great support from the school and outstanding support from the community. Almost everyone in the community attended every game. The highlight of my senior year was winning the regional championship in Galveston. And this was the first undefeated season in the 55-game winning streak.
That's awesome. And I want to invite Stanley in as well.
Hello.
Stanley, thank you so much for joining us and for carving out the time to be here as a part of this celebration, recognizing the 1958 Pflugerville Panthers team. Stanley, when you hear, you know, Charles and Atlin reflect on their memories, what are some things that stand out to you as well that made that team so special? And kind of in your words, what makes Texas high school football so special?
Well, Pflugerville, you know, once you start winning, and we've had a couple winning streaks before our time, you know, the community expects it. So I think we played extra hard just to keep up the winning tradition. And, you know, even our pastor at Emmanuel Lutheran Church in Pflugerville, he announced at our games, and every Sunday morning he would have to recognize the football team and congratulate us. So that meant something. And like everyone else said, we had a lot of participation. It wasn't just Pflugerville. They came from Austin and the surrounding schools. They were lined up about 3 deep around the football field because we only had 3 bleachers, and the band took one of those. And so we had a lot of spectators expecting us to win. And as far as the High Island, you know, this was our first season in 8-man football. I remember the bus getting off the bus, and High Island team was a group of the players were standing around out there, just to eyeball us, I guess. And one of them came up to me and asked me, "Who is Atlan Pfluger?" Anyway, I pointed out to them, and they looked really glad and happy because he wasn't the big running back, I think, that they expected. He probably weighed about 165 pounds. And I think they were expecting about 225 or something because he is our leading scorer. And he's pretty outstanding. So the first, after I think that afternoon we went to, I guess, Galveston High or Ball High and had a little workout. Then we came back and we swam a while out in the Gulf. And we just had a good time. And of course, we won our football game. You can always have a lot of fun when you win a football game. And there was quite a bit of celebration at the motel that night. Some of the older people, or the older football players that had their vehicles down there, we were doing donuts out on the beach, Anyway, there's a lot of celebration going. And I was really privileged to play with this team for 55 games, winning, and don't regret it. I think we had, 28 points scored our senior year against us. I think it was about, it's Hutto, I believe, about the 6th or 7th game, they scored a touchdown all of us. And man, we were really depressed. We were ahead of them and we won, but we didn't expect anybody to score against us. But I think we had 20 points scored on us at one season. Anyway, it's a lot of good memories, and appreciate y'all inviting us. Y'all have a good day.
We appreciate you sharing that story with us. My favorite, I think everybody would agree with me on this. It's so fun to hear the stories from that, 63 years ago. And to have that memory recall like it just happened yesterday is always amazing to me. And it just really shows, how these are long-lasting memories and how special it is how special Texas high school football is. And I really appreciate you gentlemen sharing those stories. Coach Raymond, they're at Pflugerville ISD now. I got the opportunity to drive through and see the rich history and everything when I was there just this past week. But as you kind of look back on that 1958 team, what type of legacy do you think that they left behind? And how do you believe that historic season helped mold the rich tradition that Pflugerville has today?
Coach Taylor kind of alluded to it earlier. That kind of started the path for Pflugerville High School to become like what we would consider to be an iconic brand, really, for Texas high school football. Like Coach Taylor said, if you've got that P on your helmet or on your chest, everybody knows who that is. And that all started back then, you know what I mean? And they've had a lot of good teams and they've had a lot of success, but it all started. And honestly, for me, coming into Pflugerville, one of the really cool parts of it is still having all the people that were connected to that team involved in what we do, as far as, obviously with Miss Mott being around, and then, with our school district and, our announcer at the field for the Pflugerville High games and the spot. We still have people that are connected to that and still keep those traditions alive for us. So I really think they kind of just laid the groundwork for Pflugerville High and for our community and our expectations and traditions.
We're so grateful to be joined by Tamara Jones, representing HEB. And, this was a Texas high school football season in 2020, unlike we've ever seen before. And a lot of adversity that we faced and a lot of negativity. But, to have a partner step up to the plate to recognize and celebrate 100 years of UIL football and join the UIL and Dave Campbell's Texas football and doing that, we are so grateful to have HEB support as a part of it. Tamara, tell us why it was so important for HEB to team up with the UIL and Dave Campbell's Texas football to celebrate 100 years, and why is connecting at the local level a priority for HEB?
Well, HEB's service to the state of Texas is rich in history and tradition. just as Texas football. So I really liked how Coach Taylor said that, that there's a tradition of sport and school, rich in history. And HEB has been in business since 1905, so over 116 years. And our strong commitment to our customers and our communities is the way that we conduct the business. And we're so proud to support Dave Campbell's Texas football and the UIL and spotlighting these 100 historic teams. We're thankful for the opportunity to work with UIL throughout the year to promote community service initiatives and scholarships through our Texas schools. And I'm just enjoying hearing, it's just a treasure to hear all the history and the memories of what it was like to be in the 1958 Pflugerville Panthers. And really, it's just an honor to recognize our local heroes, the 1958 Pflugerville Panthers. So congratulations again.
Thank you so much, Tamara. And Ibelia is joining us. Ibelia is the store manager there at the local Pflugerville store. Ibelia, tell us how special it is for you to see Pflugerville High School and a community that you serve each and every day be honored with a recognition like this.
Just like Tamara was saying, it's beautiful to hear all these awesome stories, and we here at the Pflugerville store, we're all about taking care of the community, and some of these high school students actually work at our stores, so it's kind of like a family, in the field and at store level, and we're just happy to be able to help and be part of this special event for Pflugerville.
Well, we're so grateful to have you guys here to join us today as a part of this special celebration, and really thankful for your support this year. It really means a lot. So really grateful to have you two ladies here. Now, Verna Jean, I want to toss this next question to you. Again, thank you for helping coordinate this call today. Appreciate everything that you did to help get us all here today. You were a cheerleader for Pflugerville High School during that 1958 season, and still serve Pflugerville ISD as board president today. Tell us what it means to be a part of the UIL 100 Greatest Team celebration, and in your words, what makes Texas High School so special to you.
Well, being a spirited cheerleader back in 1958, it was a tremendous honor to see these farm boys recognized now 62 years later. There has been and continues to be a lot of fantastic football played in our great state. Friday night football is ingrained in Texas culture with thrills, shrills, and every other emotion. In fact, filming of Friday Night Lights happened on our Campbell field, named after our coaches, Hub and Charles Campbell. This team that went 10-0 set the firm foundation and confidence that triggered 55 straight wins, setting a record to be named National Schoolboy Football Champions in 1962. I've been a Panther fan for over 70 years, driving across Texas to watch great competitions. This Panther team promoted excellence in performance and the expected winning tradition. My husband, my son, and many of my students played Panther ball. I'm Panther proud of the many that through the decades have received college scholarships to pursue higher education. And we have 3 Panthers who wear Super Bowl rings. Texas football is football at its best, bringing communities together. The chatter and the stories before, during, and after the game goes on and on and on. Football is real life beyond the classroom, experiencing winners and losers, teamwork, discipline, work ethic, sportsmanship, a little bit of good luck, dreams fulfilled, and sometimes dreams busted. President of the Board of Trustees, I must share this past September, when the first game of the season was played and Coach Raymond made it happen in the midst of the pandemic, I was brought to my knees in tears to see UIL and the hardworking coaches supporting our athletes, our band, our drill team, cheerleaders, parents, and special guests. To engage together as a community on a Friday night brought a brief sense of being normal for that moment and a Pflugerville tradition. And I'd like to thank HEB because they have always been there supporting our community in challenging time, whether it was the winter storm or hurricanes or whatever it happened to be. And I again applaud UIL. They have been with us for 100 years. And the programs that they have offered has been amazing for students to be involved beyond the classroom. They are learning leadership. They are building confidence. I think what's cool is some of our players on this team, they sent me a story that they joined the Army after high school, and they met up and were playing in the Army with one of the players from High Island that they played at the regional game. And these guys also, you go on and you never forget those relationships that you have with other athletes. So thank you to UIL and to HEB for continuing to support our students and making great things happen in our communities.
Thank you so much, Verna Jean, for sharing that. And again, thank you for your help coordinating this call today. Like Coach Raymond said, you're obviously loved in the Pflugerville community and still a very integral part here 63 years later. So really happy to have you be a part of this special celebration. You know, something that you hit on was HEB's support, you know, in the good times and the tough times. And Superintendent Killian, I want to bounce this next one to you. What does it mean to you to have the support of partners like HEB who are committed to recognizing the achievements of Texas high schools and communities, not only there at Pflugerville, but across the state?
Well, you know, we can't do it without partners like HEB, but I have to say I'm not surprised to see HEB sponsoring something like this and being a part of this. HEB seems to be, if there was a top 10, top 100 list of corporate sponsors that get involved in the community and do things like this, recognizing outstanding work and then supporting the public school system, it would be HEB. And that's just been my experience all the way through. You know, a friend of mine says that the teams to remember play in December. And I'd just like to say that in terms of Dave Campbell and this list, obviously this team played in December a couple times, and they're amazing in what they were able to accomplish from 58 and all the 55 wins over the course of their history. They really did set the passion for this. And I think HEB sets the standard and the passion for working with school districts and sponsoring things like this. So thank them tremendously.
And Dr. Gallo, I want to ask you that same question. You know, what does it mean to you to have the support of partners like HEB who stepped up to the plate to be a partner of the UIL 100 Greatest Teams and have this opportunity to recognize Pflugerville and your community?
Well, I appreciate you having us. I think anytime you can connect Dave Campbell's football, HEB, and high school athletics, that's a pretty good situation. I think that would be the three-legged stool to the foundation of our state, is support from HEB and then the institution that is Texas high school football through Dave Campbell's, and that the UIL and our teams have developed. So just couldn't be prouder and more appreciative of the support. I think they've set a high standard, and I think our community's better and our students are better because of those expectations and the standard that was set in the past. It laid a great foundation.
And Principal Hunt, I'm going to give you the final words. Do you have any final words for HEB and the folks here joining us to celebrate the 1958 Pflugerville Panthers and that 1958 season?
Yes, I have to say, and thank you again for allowing me this opportunity to speak. I have to say, it is truly an honor to be recognized today, 63 years later, to be recognized for the accomplishments of these 1958 Panthers who left an amazing legacy for this high school and for the community. And it is our daily charge to keep what they have accomplished alive. It's very important to us. Without sponsors like HEB, it would be more difficult to do it. I am so grateful for the opportunity and to be recognized as one of the UIL 100 Greatest Teams. It's amazing. And again, we are so grateful to HEB for sponsoring this and making us a part of it.
Thank you so much, Principal Hunt, and thank you to everybody on this call. Really appreciative of everybody carving out the time to join us as a part of this very special recognition. Congratulations again on behalf of the UIL, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and HEB to the 1958 Pflugerville Panthers team. And a special thank you to Tamra and Ibelia and the folks at HEB for your support of the UIL 100 Greatest Teams.